Miss Ruggieri from the best library at Robinson Independent School District. We are at Robinson Intermediate School Library Media Center, and it is time for First Chapter Friday. And this author is a great author for kids. He writes a lot of great stories, Gordon Korman, and this is one that I just liked again because of the doggy on the cover. But it is about a rare baseball card of Babe Ruth and a sleepover, and this card is actually stolen, and the main character and his buddies have to try to get it back. And so they run into all kinds of problems trying to get this card back. So here goes, first chapter, Friday-Swindle. But okay, I'm wondering what the dog has to do with this whole story, because I just told you what it was about, right? Right. So, and I told you I like the cover, right? Right, because it's about, look at this. It's that dog. That dog looks so funny. Look at him. He looks like he's like, yeah, okay, let's get going with the story. All right, let's get going with the story and see what this dog has to do with this whole story. I wonder if the dog's name is Swindle. Okay, so you have been chosen for a special skill to do something that urgently needs to be done. To learn more, come to the ballroom at 3:30. Don't miss this. It will be worth your while. And it's got a bunch of dollar signs out next to it. Interesting. It's kind of like the intro to the whole book. Ooh, I'd come just to see what it was about. And then it says, 2 weeks earlier, sneaking out at night, helpful hints. When lying to your parents, maintain eye contact. That's helpful hint number 1. Helpful hint number 2, make sure you ask permission to attend the correct fake sleepover. Boys, Stan Winter's place. Girls, Karen Lobsizik's place. Helpful hint number 3. Meet at the old Rockford house at 8:30 p.m. Friday. You can't miss it. There's a crane with a giant wrecking ball parked in front. And helpful hint number 4, enter through missing planks in the boarded up window. First floor, east side. Helpful hints. All right, here we go. Oh, there's another one on the next page. Bring your sleeping bag. Remember, the old Rockford house is a condemned building that will be demolished tomorrow morning. There will be no beds, no running water, no furniture, no lights, and no TV. When a plan from Griffin Bing, even the tiniest detail had to be perfect. He agonized over every fine point and possibility, all except one. What if nobody showed up? We probably shouldn't have put in the part about no TV. Griffin's friend Ben Slavic said glumly. Griffin and Ben sat cross-legged on their sleeping bags in what had once been an elegant living room. They were surrounded by shredded drapery, remnants of ancient furnishings, and mounds of dust. All around them, the cavernous old house creaked and groaned with hollow, eerie noises. Outside, a thunderstorm raged. Griffin trained the beam of his flashlight on his wristwatch, 10:34 p.m. I can't believe it. How could we get nobody? 28 people said they were coming. Maybe they're just late, Ben offered. 9 o'clock is late. 10:30 is no one's coming. Don't they have any self-respect? This is like saying it's totally fine for adults in this town to walk all over us. Ben would have dearly loved to be no-show number 29. Only loyalty to his best friend had brought him here tonight. Come on, Griffin, he reasoned. What's the difference? Does it make 2 people or 3 or 200 people? What difference does it make to spend the last night in a condemned building? How does that show the adults that we're standing up for our rights? They're never even going to know about it. We'll know, Griffin said stoutly, sticking out his jaw. Sometimes you just have to prove to yourself that you're more than just a slab of meat under the shrink wrap in your grocer's freezer. Why do you think I came up here with a fake sleepover idea? I wanted to make sure everybody had an excuse to be here. That's what the whole point was behind the plan. The plan, Ben groaned. It was the best thing about Griffin. It also was the worst. Griffin being was the man with the plan. Maybe the other kids wanted to come, but they were scared, Ben suggested. Of what? Griffin challenged. Dust? The rain? A whole night without TV? This house is supposed to be haunted, Ben insisted. You know the rumors. What rumors? Griffin scoffed. How do you think it got abandoned in the first place? Old man Rockford was in jail for cutting up his wife with a chainsaw. That's what Darren had said. When's the last time Darren said anything that's worth the air it took to blow out of his big fat head? Griffin exploded. He also says he's distantly related to the Rockfords with no proof whatsoever. Besides, they didn't even have a chainsaw back in the old man Rockford time. Well, they had railroads, though, Ben noted. According to Marcus, the real murder weapon was a railway spike pounded into her skull. Griffin wasn't buying it. He's just pulling your chain. You know how he loves messing around with people. But Pitch doesn't. And you know what she said? The house is haunted by the spirit of a dog that the old man brought home from Europe after World War I. Or maybe it wasn't a dog. Griffin rolled his eyes. Well, then what was it? A Komodo dragon? Okay, maybe is this the spirit of the dog, according to what Pitch has to say about the mansion? Nobody knows, but just a few days after it got to town, pets started disappearing. At first, it was like just little kittens and puppies, but pretty soon, full-grown St. Bernards were vanishing into thin air, and there were bones buried all around the house. Only Rockford wasn't feeding the dog any bones. A flash of lightning cast strange, angular shadows through the boarded windows. Ben paused to let the story sink in. The townspeople took the law into their own hands. They put rat poison inside a big steak and left it on the doorstep. It never occurred to them that if an evil spirit could live inside a dog, it could live inside something else too, like a house. He peered around at the shadowed walls as if expecting to see something supernatural and hideous coming through. Oh, come on. Griffin refused to be shaken. There's no such thing as a haunted house. Well, Marcus heard the same story, Ben said with a sniff. No, he didn't, Griffin reminded him. He heard the one about the railway spike. He heard both, and so did Savannah. Only in her version, it wasn't a dog, it was a baby. Why would the townspeople poison a baby? They didn't. It got carried off by a chicken hawk. But the baby's ghost put a curse on the house to take back all the years it never got to live. There was this school teacher, the first non-Rockford ever to live here. No one saw her again after the day she moved in. Or maybe they did. People talked about an old woman peering out an attic window. But here's the thing. The school teacher was only 23. A gust of wind blew through the eaves, and an unearthly moaning sound echoed around them. Ben's head retreated turtle-like into his collar, and even Griffin looked a little pale. No offense, Ben, but shut up. You're starting to creep me out. Griffin panned the crumbling walls with the flashlight. It's almost 11. Nobody's coming. Gutless wonders. It was the railway spike, said Ben nervously. That's got to be a splitting headache. Literally. Griffin spread out his bedroll and lay back, standing his flashlight on its base like a miniature floor lamp. Let's try to get some sleep. The sooner the sun rises, the sooner we can get out of this rat trap. Maybe we can leave now, Ben suggested hopefully. Since nobody else came, they'll never know that we weren't here all night. Griffin was horrified. You mean back down? Those two words were not in his vocabulary. I don't want my years sucked away by some baby's ghost. There's no such thing, Griffin exclaimed. Who says you have to believe in ghosts to be afraid of them? Ben challenged. All right, fine, I'll sleep. He rolled over onto his side, pulling his knees up to his chest. But if I wake up 85 years old, you owe me $20. Deal. They lay there in silence for what seemed like a long time, listening to the machine gun rhythm of the rain on the ancient slate roof. Griffin stared up at a gaping hole in the ceiling that had once held a chandelier. I hope you know how much I appreciate this. You're the only kid who has the guts to see this through. His friend said nothing, so Griffin went on. I mean it, man. The others, they talk a good game, but where are they? Darren dared half the sixth grade to come. He even made fun of us, said we'd wimp out. But who's the real wimp, huh, Ben? Ben's reply was slow, steady, and breathing, almost like snoring. Ben? Griffin sat up and peered at his friend. Ben was curled into a ball on his bedroll, fast asleep. Griffin let out a low whistle of admiration. Creepy house, creepy night, and Ben was relaxed enough to doze off. He came off as a big chicken sometimes, but when it really counted, he was too cool for school. It was harder for Griffin to settle down, not because he was scared, not at all. Griffin stayed up because he was mulling over the reason he and Ben were camping out with dust bunnies in a century of supernatural speculation. He was thinking about the last plan. And that's the end of chapter 1. All right, I already like this book. I do. I'm hooked. I want to know what's the dog. Is the dog the ghost? I want to know what the ghost story is behind and the legend behind this haunted house is. Are they going to make it through it? And then I want to know where this baseball card comes into play because that was on the blurb in the back. You know, they always tell you what the story is going to be about in the back. So I was reading that. I want to know about this baseball card because it's a rare Babe Ruth one. So if you are interested in this book, it is in the library in our first chapter Friday section. And come on by and check it out. And there are other books by Gordon Korman as well to find. Just come on down. We can help you find a great book. Talk to you guys next Friday.